In the intricate realm of geopolitics, a quiet but monumental shift is taking place, one that has the potential to alter the balance of power in global energy markets. Canada, a steadfast ally of the United States, has recently taken a step that has sent ripples across the international stage. In an unexpected turn of events, Canada has allowed Russian oil to cross its borders, a decision that raises questions about its motivations and the broader implications for U.S. dominance in global energy markets. Complicating matters further, Russia, despite being targeted by sweeping Western sanctions, continues to exert significant influence in the energy sector. This development has exposed cracks in the U.S.'s strategy to isolate Moscow economically, showcasing the resilience of Russia's oil industry and its ability to circumvent sanctions. For months, the United States has urged its allies to minimize their reliance on Russian energy in an effort to weaken Moscow's economic standing. However, Canada's surprising move to permit Russian oil imports runs counter to this narrative. The motivations behind Canada's decision appear to be rooted in economic pragmatism, national energy needs, and the intricate web of global trade. While the U.S. has intensified its sanctions campaign against Russian oil, Canada's actions suggest that its priorities may no longer be entirely aligned with Washington's. This divergence raises important questions about the future of U.S.-Canada relations and the broader dynamics of the energy market. One of the most remarkable aspects of Russia's resilience in the face of sanctions is the emergence of what has been termed the shadow fleet. This covert network of oil tankers operates discreetly, transporting Russian oil to countries willing to defy Western sanctions. These ships have become a critical component of Russia's strategy to maintain its oil exports and revenue streams. This clandestine operation highlights Russia's adaptability and underscores the limitations of Western sanctions. Far from being a defeated player, Russia remains a formidable force in the global energy landscape, leveraging the shadow fleet to sustain its economy and influence. Meanwhile, Europe, despite its vocal condemnation of Russia and imposition of sanctions, finds itself in a precarious position. The continent remains heavily dependent on Russian oil and gas, a reliance that cannot be easily severed without significant economic repercussions. While European leaders publicly support measures to reduce dependence on Moscow, many countries, including Germany and Italy, continue to seek ways to secure Russian energy. Some resort to indirect routes to bypass sanctions, reflecting the complexity of balancing political principles with the practical necessity of energy security. This dependency underscores the enduring entanglement of Russian energy in the European economy, a reality that complicates efforts to isolate Russia. As Europe grapples with its energy challenges, Asia has emerged as a critical player in reshaping the global energy landscape. China and India, two of the world's largest energy consumers, have become prominent buyers of Russian oil. By securing substantial energy deals with Moscow, these nations are not only deepening their economic ties with Russia but also positioning themselves as influential actors in global energy markets. This trend underscores the waning influence of the U.S. in dictating global energy dynamics. Despite Washington's efforts to curtail Russia's economic power, Moscow's ability to forge new partnerships with countries like China and India reveals the shifting centers of energy demand and supply. The U.S. sanctions on Russian oil, intended to cripple Moscow's economy, have not yielded the desired results. Instead, Russia has found alternative markets and routes to sustain its oil exports. As of early 2025, Russian oil continues to flow to Asia, Africa, and parts of Europe, illustrating the limitations of Western sanctions. These developments have introduced volatility into global oil prices, undermining the U.S.'s traditional role as the dominant force in the energy sector. Historically, the United States has wielded significant power over global energy markets, setting oil prices and using its influence to shape geopolitical outcomes. However, the emergence of new energy players and the diversification of supply chains are challenging this dominance. Canada's involvement in this evolving energy dynamic adds another layer of complexity. By allowing Russian oil into its borders, Canada is capitalizing on discounted prices to lower its energy costs, a move that could bolster its economy. However, this decision comes at the potential expense of its long-standing relationship with the United States. Traditionally aligned with Washington on key geopolitical issues, Canada's willingness to diverge from U.S. interests signals a growing inclination to prioritize its own economic and strategic goals. This newfound independence could strain bilateral relations and reflects a broader trend of U.S. allies pursuing their own agendas in an increasingly multipolar world. The shifting energy landscape is emblematic of a broader realignment in global power structures. As Russia, China, and India assert themselves as major players in energy markets, the U.S.'s influence is steadily eroding. This transition toward a multipolar energy system has profound implications for global politics. The traditional levers of U.S. power, control over oil prices and the ability to enforce sanctions, are becoming less effective as new alliances and trade networks emerge. The rise of these alternative energy powers is reshaping the rules of the game, forcing the U.S. to reconsider its strategies for maintaining relevance in a rapidly changing world. Europe's delicate balancing act further underscores the complexities of this transition. Despite officially severing ties with Russia over its actions in Ukraine, many European nations remain reliant on Russian energy to meet their needs. Countries like Hungary and Germany, unable to fully extricate themselves from this dependency, continue to navigate a tenuous relationship with Moscow. This situation reflects the broader challenge facing Europe, reconciling its political stance with the practical realities of energy security. Russia, for its part, is playing a long game. By cultivating relationships with emerging markets in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, Moscow is building a diversified customer base for its oil and gas exports. This strategic pivot ensures that Russia remains a key player in global energy markets, even as it faces Western sanctions. The ability to adapt and forge new alliances underscores Russia's resilience and highlights the limitations of the U.S.'s efforts to isolate it. The global energy landscape is undergoing a profound transformation, one that has far-reaching implications for geopolitics. The U.S., once the undisputed leader in energy markets, is facing challenges from all sides. The rise of alternative energy powers, the resilience of Russia's oil sector, and the shifting priorities of allies like Canada are reshaping the rules of the game. To regain its footing, the U.S. will need to adopt innovative strategies and adapt to the realities of a multipolar energy system. As this new chapter in global energy unfolds, it is clear that the balance of power is being redefined, and the world is watching closely to see how the U.S. responds.